to the NBA from last night. Victor Wembanyama missed a game in the concussion protocol. He was back and better than ever. Spurs and Blazers. Danny, just watch this. Tell me what you're going to do with this guy.
Curl off the screen. I would take my elbow to his chest and see if I could just hurt him.
Yeah, that works out. This was really a tale of two games. The first half, Denny Avdia.
Yo, he's a hoop. He's very good.
Blazers a 17-point lead. And then the third quarter happened, and the Blazers just stopped scoring, and the Spurs went on a run of their own. Watch this. De'Aaron Fox, he played great.
He's so good.
Boom. Spurs an 8-0 run. Later in the third, watch this. Castle, Alley,
Cornette from the three-point line.
It's a three-point game. Spurs down 2. Look at Wemby. Spurs outscore the Blazers by 17 in the third.
It was 74-74?
Yes, we're tied up going to the fourth. That's great math. Then it's Castle throwing it up to Wemby, who had 27.
Two UConn legends, Orlovsky and Castle.
Spurs take the lead, and then it's Castle again.
Oh, my God.
Wemby again.
Can we put a body on him?
Wemby was phenomenal. Aaron Fox actually led the way with 28. Spurs become the first team ever in the playoffs to trail by at least 15 at the half and then win by more than 15. They take a 3-1 series lead. They're just the better team in this series. They outscored Portland by 38 in the second half. Second largest point differential in the second half of a playoff game ever. Wemby had 18 of his 27 in the second half, and he blocked 5 shots. More hoops later. Back to the NFL. The ring
to play in Game 4 about an hour before tip-off. Monica is back. Okay, despite all of maybe the post-game drama, the Spurs climbed back from a 19-point deficit to win this game. How did they do so?
Okay, so Victor Wembanyama is a very cerebral basketball player. I think it just took this team getting warmed up through two quarters, and at halftime they made the adjustments. Literally, they come out of the third quarter and they outperform basically the Blazers in almost every statistical category, including Victor Wembanyama, who has 4 blocks alone in that quarter. There was a shift in the energy, there was a shift in the aggressiveness, not to mention the speed of these guys. It's absolutely deadly. And then they forced turnovers, and so they made the Blazers uncomfortable. I mean, you can't give up points off turnovers the way that the Blazers did to a team like the Spurs with Victor on the floor.
Okay, Monica, so maybe falling into a double-digit deficit once, an anomaly. Twice, though, you're starting to show a pattern. So that being said, the Spurs falling down double digits early in games. Going into the playoffs, obviously, the competition's going to get better. Does that give you pause as far as how far this Spurs team could go?
Strifey, it's a great question, but I also will tell you to zoom out of this particular series and look around the playoffs. In today's NBA, these 15 to 19 point deficits are not what they used to be. And so this young team showing the fortitude to be able to close these gaps, particularly by turning on their defensive effort. And of course, last night they shot the 3-ball really well. I believe they knocked down 14 threes. They look like the rest of these veteran teams in these positions as well. And so, yes, the competition will get steeper. You might not be able to continue to come back from that, but it's not something that is unique that I would apply to the youth of this group because we're seeing it around the league.
Randy, did you hear that?
Game 4, and they had at least one advantage coming off the overtime win of 2 nights earlier. Kevin Durant out again with the left ankle. Second quarter, this was a theme. LeBron turning it over, and the Rockets going the other way. Rockets an 8-point early lead. LeBron 8 turnovers in this game. Here's another of them. Rockets going the other way, and it's Shepherd. Rockets an 11-point advantage.
Yeah, LeBron said there were just too many pick sixes in this game. The turnovers were a big story. He had 8 of them.
Early in the third quarter, Rockets lead is 11. LeBron, no, stay with the play. Rockets pushing. Shepherd, if you're going to give him space, he's going to knock it in your face.
He's going to take them, too, and they needed that. They needed balanced scoring without Kevin Durant, and that's exactly what they got. Everybody with 15 or more points in the starting 5.
Now, Lakers down 18. That's the 23 turnovers the Lakers had last night. Here's Şengün plus the free throw. He had 19 and 6. Rockets by 21. Next Houston possession. Şengün working on DeAndre Ayton. Fouled hard. Take a look. This winds up being called a flagrant 2 and an ejection.
Yeah, it seems a bit extreme because there didn't look like there was intent, but there was head contact. KD waving bye-bye. KD, get your sneakers because your team needs you.
They need them bad in Game 5, which there will be. Lakers down by 20. They just sort of mailed in the second half. LeBron would finish with 10 points, 2 of 9 from the floor, didn't make a three. The 8 turnovers we talked about, and the Rockets will live to fight another night, and that night will be Wednesday in Los Angeles. The field goals, just 2, tying the fewest that LeBron has ever made in a playoff game in his career. Fewest made shots in any game since Game 5 of the 2014 Conference Finals against the Pacers. Here was LeBron when it was done.
Obviously, we know coming into the series, we have to protect the ball versus them, not have too many pick sixes, which we did all night. And I mean, it started with me, obviously. My turnover was unacceptable, but we do a better job with that on Wednesday. We understand that offensive rebounds for them and pick sixes is not going to be good for our ball club.
All right, we'll have Monica McNutt with us in a second, having a little trouble with her audio. But when you and I were talking this morning, you called this game sort of a snow day for LeBron and the Lakers.
Oh, now I do. Okay.
If you could have load management in the playoffs, I think that's what it would look like.
Right.
LeBron James in the first 3 games of this series, averaging 41 minutes a game. He had an outstanding Game 3 in overtime, made huge plays down the stretch. He was also averaging 19 shots a game. He only took 9 in this one. So it just kind of shows you that while he was, of course, still on the court, physically still there, you saw him running offense from the top and not really engaging much in it after that. He was playing point guard. You see him taking some of these kind of hero ball threes later on in the game. But early on, you can see that this wasn't going to be a game where he was going to throttle down. And I think it's important that he does this because you get 2 days off. Game 5 is Wednesday. He has given you everything you need to win this series by Wednesday in 5.
Exactly right. When you get a 3-0 lead, this is the luxury that you afford yourself.
This is how you get the gentleman's
with
sweep.
that 4th game on the road,
Yep.
is not to have to use up your 41-year-old superstar 2 nights after he did it for them in a huge way on Friday night. Monica, so if you look at it, we'll ask the traditional get-up question. Was that a bad game or a bad sign, you thought, for the Lakers and LeBron?
I think it was mostly just a bad game. Greeny, it is so hard to replicate the urgency that a team actually facing elimination has to deal with. And that is the case in this one. I mean, between the series potentially being over, between the things that Ime Udoka had to say post-game after Game 3, like, it was this young Rockets opportunity to show that they could respond. They forced 30 points off of turnovers. They share the ball. They play with tremendous energy. Like, this is where youth was on their side. Unfortunately, though, and I will add this, the three-point line, we're seeing this across NBA series, but the three-point line in this one was important as well, 40% compared to 22% of Rockets versus Lakers. I will say, though, I still think this team is not exactly poised to mount a historic comeback.
No, especially if Durant is A, not playing, or B, playing but severely compromised.
Yeah, he has the bruised knee, which was before the series even started, which really leveled the playing field in this series, which felt like it was tilted because of no Luka and no Reeves. But that, and then he has the ankle injury. So those 2 things have kept him out the last couple of games. And while he's getting round-the-clock treatment, trying to get himself available in this series, to not be able to play in any of the home games, that really tells you just how injured he is. So, an idea of coming back down 0-3, you can't see it. This was for the Rockets. You had to show up in your last home game. You had to make sure you didn't get swept. Yeah. That's what they did. Şengün had a great game. He spoke up for his team. But in the end, for the Lakers, 2 days off, get LeBron a little more rest. I think this series is over Wednesday.
So do I. And Monica, just a quick final thought here. Austin Reeves might return for Game 5. For those of you not paying attention to it over the weekend, he was upgraded from we're never going to see him again to all of a sudden he's questionable for these games over the weekend, right? I mean, that's sort of the way it felt. It was like, oh, we had forgotten about Austin Reeves. Maybe Luka comes back. To all of a sudden you snap your fingers and Austin Reeves is listed as questionable. So the expectation that maybe he's back Game 5, things I think continue to point the Lakers' way despite what was a sloppy night last night.
Yeah, I agree, but Greeny, let's all keep it honest, right? The big thing is, are they going to be alive long enough for Luka to return for them to have a real chance if they advance to the second round? So I'm glad to hear this about Austin Reeves, but I think when you look at the opponents that are looming next, Luka is the guy you need to see get back on the floor.
For sure. And the opponent that's looming next is going to be OKC, which is, if you watch them play at this point, it's like running into a buzzsaw. It made